I'm Jennifer Snaz here watching News 24 Live. I'm joined in studio by Hanley Prinsloo and Peter Marshall from the I Am Water Foundation. Now these two have just come back from an expedition where they were shooting a documentary about shark conservation, and they're going to tell us all about that right now. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you both again. Now you've just come back from Costa Rica, and it wasn't all pleasure. It was also some grueling work that you were doing there. Why don't you tell me about why you ventured off to Costa Rica?
Absolutely. So Costa Rica has this lesser known gem, 36 hours by boat out in the Pacific, called Cocos Island. And Cocos Island is this small uninhabited island. It's a marine reserve and a nature reserve, so you can't actually live on the island. There's only rangers living on the island. And it's a really special ecosystem for the marine, but also terrestrial. And it's probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. It's this emerald green cloud forest, rainforest, with waterfalls falling right into the ocean. And it was the inspiration for both Jurassic Park and Treasure Island.
Wow.
Fantastic place.
Now tell me about this documentary that you're working on.
Right, so we were part of quite a big international group that were invited to go to Cocos Island to raise awareness around what's happening to the sharks in the Pacific and in that region. Cocos Island is a very important hope spot, marine reserve area, and Dr. Sylvia Earle's been diving there for many, many decades. She's a very established oceanographer. And just recently, Costa Rica made this really bad decision to export shark fins to Hong Kong, where for a long time that's not been legal in Costa Rica. So we were part of an international group to raise awareness about this issue and really sound the alarm.
Peter, why did Costa Rica make this decision? It seems like a little bit of a rash decision to make.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why they made the decision, but the fact that they made the decision to then ship those fins to the markets, it's a real problem because it keeps those markets going. It gives that supply side for that market to keep functioning. And if they can just cut the fins off and keep them from getting to market, then it really inhibits the purchasing of the shark fins and save the sharks in the long run. So I'm not sure why they decided to send them over there. There's some political issues going on in Costa Rica that we don't fully understand, but for some reason the politicians felt enabled to make that decision. And so it's great because the Costa Rican public has actually learned about this and really pushed for reform. So that's been good. That's part of the reason we were over there, to help people understand what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you said you were over there with a group of international people pushing for reform, coming together with the public. What was the general feeling like amongst everyone there when they found out what was happening?
Yeah, it was... Yeah, I must be honest. It was an interesting combination of all of us just being so wildly excited like little children because it was so exciting to go to Cocos Island. It's really hard to get the opportunity to go to this island. And on the other hand, just really very powerfully galvanized and committed to the cause. And it is quite a remarkable experience to be on a boat in quite a confined space with about 10 other individuals all just talking about and fighting for the same cause. And these are all very established ocean advocates and profiled celebrities who really just believe that this needs to happen.
Now, do we know why there's such a demand for shark fins in Hong Kong?
Yeah, we do. I mean, unfortunately, one of the biggest challenges within ocean conservation is strong cultural beliefs around certain things in the ocean to eat. And one of those things is shark fins for shark fin soup. And in Hong Kong, Vietnam, China, there is a belief that shark fin soup is a status symbol. Shark fins have no nutritional value. They have no taste. They're actually just cartilage. So there's no taste, nothing. They actually put chicken stock in the soup to give it taste. So there's no value from the shark fins except the status. I mean, similar to the challenges we have with rhino horn, there's nothing that it brings to the human digestion or nutrition, and it's a disaster. And it's still something a lot of people see as a status symbol. So the demand keeps rising.
Now, obviously, if the shark fins keep being exported and people keep consuming them, we risk having no sharks in the oceans anymore. What would that do to the ecosystem of the ocean?
Yeah, it's not a good thing. I think anytime you take out the apex predator in an ecosystem, there's all these cascading effects that roll off right down the food chain. So all the smaller fish that aren't quite at the top, they're going to be affected. And there's going to be explosions of the prey animals that the sharks would usually feed on. And that's just what we know from picking it up from the researchers that we've talked to. But it really causes a lot of dysfunction in the ecosystem. So the sharks are actually being fished for their meat as well as for their fins, and so that's a big problem too. It's a problem that they're fished for their fins, but it's also a problem that they're fished for our fish and chips. So we need to be aware of those things and just make sure that when we hear what's going on, that we can make informed decisions and help influence the right policy.
When you say they're being fished for our fish and chips, what do you mean?
I know, right? That's really scary.
That is scary.
The prevalence of shark meat in unlabeled fish is very high. So often when nobody can tell you what kind of meat it is, it's usually shark. So make sure that if you're eating fish and chips, ask, is it hake? Is it cod? Is it this? What is it that I'm eating? And then make sure that's on the green list. Otherwise, we end up eating species that we really shouldn't be eating. And it's not good for us either. They're so high in mercury. It's literally like poisoning yourself. Yeah. And at this point, the statistics show that we have fished out more than 90% of the ocean's sharks. And that comes to around 100 million sharks a year. And if you do the maths of how many sharks that is per day, it seems completely unrealistic. But unfortunately, that's how good we are at fishing.